seems to me that the cycle of life is one in which, whether it's in the animal kingdom, or whether it's in the vegetable kingdom, whether it's in the human kingdom, or even the mineral kingdom, that the way it works is that this generation's seed provides life to the next generation's seed, to the next generation, and the next. And it's like the seed from this plant gives life to the next plant, gives life, and so on. And it's the same.
We love you so much. Yeah.
Okay. And in humans as well. But what has happened, this has been just alarmingly drastic shifts in the last generation or two. The amount of obesity has increased in our culture, like just dramatically. I don't think, for me, it's because we've become a nation of gluttons. What has happened, and I want to ask this question of Abraham, of you, is that we've gotten into this where we're starting to genetically modify foods.
Well, you're looking for love in all the wrong places. You're looking for food that tastes good rather than that feels good. You're not letting it guide you from your perspective of alignment. You're just looking for a way to fill the void. Don't you notice that when you are at your orneriest or your most dysfunctional, that you're looking for something to eat?
But what has happened is that we've genetically modified these foods so that the next generation of the seed for the next generation doesn't come from the wheat or it doesn't come from the corn. It comes from Monsanto. It comes from these big companies that have patents on our food, and we can't even put it in the ground without getting permission from big companies.
We don't disagree with you, but what if those like you who are now aware of that are launching some rockets of desire?
I am, big time.
And what if, instead of having the conversation of what's wrong with the food, you're having conversations about what you want the results to be?
I'm doing
What
that.
if you become a light for the vibration of well-being? What if you, with Source at your back, with the leverage that creates worlds, what if you shine a spotlight on that? What if that is the dominant vibration? In the same way that when you were at that gravesite that day, and Source was flowing through you, and even though you had gone there to do something else to that grave that you ended up not doing,
right?
But because the vibration of Source was dominant, why not be the human form that focuses on the solution rather than the problem? And that is the only thing that has gone a little haywire with humans. You spend too much time in step one talking about what you don't want instead of articulating what you do want. So your frequencies are more about what you don't want.
Don't we have to be aware of what we don't want? I mean, I don't want to have my family eating genetically modified foods.
Of course, but listen just in this conversation to the amount of time you've spent on that subject as compared to what you could be doing about it.
I know I'm doing something about it.
When you think about how they're not trucking in any food from other planets, that the seeds are all here. Wouldn't it be nice if in the modification of food, engineered food, there was a discovery of something that would be beneficial? And are you willing to accept that some of that has taken place? Some of that has taken place. But you personally prevent yourself from experiencing the benefit of any of that because you're pushing so hard. And really what it comes down to, and everyone is doing it to a certain extent, it's that, we were talking about it earlier, the difference between living in a world where you're on lower flying discs and you just sort of duking it out with each other, deciding which pile is the worst pile and which pile is a little bit better pile, and no one really being in tune with Source. You're just all talking about which pile is worse than which pile, as compared to someone who sets all of that aside, who has the benefit of the desire that's born from that, who now turns to your vortex, gets distracted from all of the issues that prevent you from resonance with well-being, and finds something like a little baby to resonate with. And for the time that you're looking at that baby, you are in sync with all of the good things that you put into the vortex. The misunderstanding that humans have is that they have to find the problem and then they have to wrestle it to the ground and kill it. And we want you to understand that there is no bottom to that. In other words, you're adding a vibrational momentum And you can't win in that way. Meanwhile, those who aren't paying any attention to that will find a better way. It's always the way. Everybody had the ability to do it. They just had to focus upon what they wanted instead of get bogged down in the muck and mire of what is. You said it. You have to believe it before you see it.
It's a good book title.
It's the best book title ever. Best book title ever. It says everything. You have to find a way of believing what you want. Because if you don't believe what you want cannot come.